Good afternoon, morning, or evening, wherever you are in the world. Warriors, welcome to the U Movement. I am B, and you can see that I'm still in my pajamas. I am having a very lazy Sunday morning because I'm back in the void, back purging, back doing all these fun things that one does on a spiritual awakening. I've actually moved my hammock inside where I slept in it all night last night with heating pad, hot water bottles, and comfy, cozy jammies. And this morning I wrote over there on Facebook a little bit about the purge. Like, what is the purge? What is going on with this spiritual awakening? This awakening is just never ending, it feels like. So I've spoken in other videos, and I do have an awakening playlist, as well as a Twinflame playlist, but an awakening playlist for your reference to hop on there. I also have a Dark Night of the Soul playlist specifically that will have more videos in regards to Dark Night of the Soul and things like that. I've taught and talked about the teachings from, her name just flew, Christina Lopes. And she talks about the 6 stages of awakening. And her stages, as she lays them out, are the wake-up call, the stage of bliss, the dark night of the soul, the void, grounding, and then basically reintegration, starting a whole new life. Now, my experience says that there's a lot more phases than that, in my personal opinion. And I believe before the wake-up call, there is a precursor phase, because this is what holds true for me and what I've seen and observed in many others. So it's almost like before you get that wake-up call, before you have that moment, and my moment came to me with soul speaking to me loudly and clearly saying, save yourself. Before that, for a number of years, I was experiencing depression, anxiety, illnesses, disease, disorders, depression, I said. They tried to diagnose me with agoraphobia. I had already begun my awakening process before I knew I was awakening. So I think that there is a precursor phase that I call the health crisis. For me, it was certainly a health crisis. Sorry. For me, it was certainly a health crisis that occurred not only on the physical, but on the mental and emotional realms as well. And I've seen this play out in other people, and it's very much in line with the idea that things have to get bad enough before people are going to make drastic changes. So I had been living my life in a toxic situation, a toxic relationship, not, trying to hold all the puzzle pieces together desperately, using any coping mechanisms, not dealing with my trauma, not dealing with the stress. So I started smoking again after I had been quit for a number of years. On the weekends, I would drink to numb the pain. I started pot use later on, when it became legal in Canada, antidepressants, anti-anxieties, irritable bowel syndrome, taking meds for that, taking meds for this, taking meds for that. So leading up to the wake-up phase, the wake-up call, I identify as, and how my mind views it very much, is like a zip file. So a zip file on your computer is a compressed file. And all the trauma that we have is stored in our body in these compressed files. And so what I see has happened is, prior to the wake-up call, all those zip files unzip. And when they do, they expand in size. So my body expanded in size, literally. And then all of the information, all of the trauma and stuff that was lodged in my body had to grow bigger and bigger and bigger. So weight is one of the things that I see as a precursor that a lot of people prior to their awakening put on weight. And so that is all those zip files opening up and going from a compressed state into a decompressed state. So it needs to take up physical space in your physical body. And then when you have the wake-up call of like, I can't live my life like this anymore, you start to see that you need to make some drastic decisions. So the body is communicating to you regularly to say these foods have to go, these behaviors have to go, these thinking about self has to go. I need to make drastic life choices. And it's not just weight, because if we don't just pay attention to the weight, it's all those disorders, it's all those health conditions that we're laying in latent energy that then are expressed into fullness. And I've seen many people go into a lot of extreme healing crisis. I was in diabetes, sleep apnea, fibromyalgia, brain fog, memory loss, irritable bowel syndrome, candida overgrowth, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. I've seen other people have multiple health conditions and an increase in the number of people that are in a young age saying that they've been diagnosed with cancers. And so then they get the wake-up call and they're like, oh my God, I need to stop eating the way that I'm eating. I need to go holistic. I need to change this. I need to change that. And so that wake-up call is precipitated by a health crisis or a healing crisis, as all of the stuff that's stored in us becomes exacerbated and activated. And then on this healing journey, for a brief moment in time, you might feel like, yes, I can do this. I can change my life. I can live differently than I have lived. I can do whatever I want. There is that momentary time of bliss. And that was very delightful when I was in an energy of, yes, I'm empowered. I can lose the weight. I can cure my diabetes. I can join a improv group and get out of the house and make new friends. And I can, yeah. Unfortunately, that stage is like a sampler of what your life could look like. It's not it's like an appetizer. It's like you go to a cake maker and say, I'm making a cake for my wedding. Can you give me a whole bunch of samples? And you're like, yeah, all of these taste great. And then they say, yeah, but sorry, we don't actually make cakes. So you're going to have to leave. And then you're all disappointed and you've, boom, talk about false advertising. You get a taste of something that you think that is like imminent, and then it's taken away from you, and you need to go through a process of all of the research all over again, and which is Dark Night of the Soul, of diving deep into all of those zip files and looking at one after another, which are all your latent traumas that have not been dealt with, your inner child wounds that need to be expressed, the emotions that need to be felt that weren't, because maybe you didn't. And I did a video the other day talking about trauma in relation to food. That was a good one to check out. I think like I think the title was why you might have a food addiction. So go watch that one, because there's some good information in there. Otherwise, I do have a trauma playlist. But basically, my theory is that all people have trauma, every single last one of us. And in the Dark Night of the Soul, it's time. The alarm has gone off, and you have to start dealing with these things one after another, and after another. So you might experience repressed memories surfacing, not just of this life, but previous lives. You might start experiencing physical aches and pains as things are being released one after another. I had a terrible terrible awakening. I still suffer from pains. That hence I've got a heating pad for my low back and this for my chest, because it's like as you're going through each of these files, stuff that's in you energetically, that's been stored in your physical is being like purged out. And when it's purged, you not only are you experiencing it on the physical, you're experiencing it on the emotional, and it's exhausting. It's a very exhausting process. It's physically exhausting. It's emotionally exhausting. It's mentally exhausting. It's overwhelming. And then you move into this void phase. And as, these phases aren't like, okay, I've done Dark Night of the Soul, I'm done, and now I'm going to be in the void for a while, and then I'm going to be done, and no, it's been, for me, more like, now, while bliss was only a solitary phase, it's been more like Dark Night of the Soul, void, 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 grounding, Dark Night of the Soul, void, grounding, Dark Night of the Soul, void, grounding. You see, it gets a little repetitive. And the void, for a lot of us who have trauma, is really hard energy to be in, because in the void, nothing's happening. And the point of it is to get you to be in presence, to be in the present moment, to stop the going over the things of the past, and to stop worrying about the things in the future. It's to really practice Eckhart Tolle's teachings of the power of now, or another good reference is Michael Singer's The Untethered Soul. Those are two very good books to utilize while you're in the void energy, because the void feels like Groundhog Day and nothing is happening. And you're like, when are the opportunities going to start to come? What's going to happen to my life? Where am I going next? Because in the Dark Night of the Soul, while you're purging everything on the inside, everything on the outside is also being purged from you. So everything that's not in alignment with you energetically. And so our outside world and our inside world are forced to match, energetically. It's the law of attraction. So when you're purging things on the inside, that means everything that's on the outside that used to be an energetic match is going to be no more. So that means you're going to lose people, family, relationships, friendships, jobs, careers, houses, stuff, cars, you name it, you're going to lose it, because whatever that was is no longer in alignment to whatever's going on the inside that's being purged. So as we're releasing on the inside, stuff on the outside is also releasing to match that energy of emptiness, because you need to be empty for there to be new to come. You need to dump out the cup. So, and then wait. And so the Dark Night of the Soul is like a dumping out of the cup, and the void is waiting for the next thing to arrive. And it feels like, when is it ever going to come? When is the next thing ever going to come? But the problem is, this emptying is, as I said, a repetitive process of we're emptying before there's receiving. So it's like we have a lot of stuff to clear out to make room for the new. And it's not, unfortunately, it would be a lot better if it was like empty and then new, empty and then new. But no, it's empty, rest, empty, rest, empty. And so this process of purification is what's happening. This process through this purge is teaching us to get into alignment with soul, to surrender to spirit, not only to what spirit and soul wants for us to be in our own highest and greatest good, but to surrender to the timing, to surrender to having a blank slate. We love, and it's part of our very spiritual core beliefs that, I'm going to manifest this, I'm going to manifest that. But in the process, for a lot of people on their spiritual awakening, it's less about manifesting. It's about releasing our expectations of what we think our life should look like. So while we might have an idea of a dream house or a dream guy or a dream situation, it's about having a blank slate and accepting that what is meant for us might be better and bigger than we can even fathom, than we can even imagine. And so that's going to take longer. That's going to take greater time when you surrender to spirit to say, okay, manifest my highest and greatest. Not what I think my highest and greatest is, but what my highest and greatest actually is. Surrender to that. And it's insanely challenging because you're in that void of energy going, well, is anything ever going to materialize? I recently watched a movie about a young girl. It was a true story, inspirational movie about a young girl from Australia that circumnavigated across the globe in a sailboat all by herself to break a world record. And there's one section in that movie where she's in the doldrums. And the doldrums is when there's absolutely no wind. And she was just, for weeks, sitting there in the middle of the ocean. And that's what the void is like the doldrums of just waiting, resting, restoring. Because there's actually a lot going on. It's just our mind can't see it, or isn't privy to it, or isn't invited to the meeting with divine, however you define that, God, spirit. And so it's above your pay grade. And so you just have to have faith that this too shall pass. Things are getting better. So a lot of mantra work is what I'm finding very useful in this energy, because it can be very, very destabilizing for the mind, because the mind wants to plot, to plan, to create, ideas of when certain things are going to happen, and letting go of that is difficult. And then something will happen and you'll be pushed back into another purge, another release, another tears, and then you'll be moved back into the void. And these energies are fluctuating, and it can feel very destabilizing. But I wanted to come on today to tell you, if you're bouncing between these two energies of dark night of the soul or the void, or you're in the beginning precursor phase of I'm having a lot of health issues and I don't know why, it doesn't matter where you are on your spiritual awakening, whatever energy you're currently in, it has to eventually shift. It has to eventually become something other than what it currently is. And so we look to nature to remind us of that there are countless cycles at play. There's day, night, there's moon cycles, there's seasonal cycles, there's yearly cycles. So whatever season you're currently in your awakening, have faith and hold on to the knowledge that whatever you are doing serves a purpose, and surrender into it and be in it. And if that means being in resting energy for the day and just accepting that that's where you are, then that's okay. If it's in a purging, crying, experiencing deep emotional releases, then it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Comfort that inner child. Reparent yourself through the process. If you're struggling with emotional flashbacks, get yourself a copy of Complex Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder, From Surviving to Thriving by Pete Walker. Hop into chapter 8 as a reminder that these are some tools and techniques that you can use to help you transmute through those memories, the memories that are flooding. Because what's happening is you're healing. We are healing. And I just need to look back 5 years and see physical photos, not just of my body, but my eyes, to see how much has shifted and how much lighter I have become. So I have to trust that this process is going to continue to work in my betterment, even though my mind doesn't know what that is. And then we move into grounding energy and things become a little bit more stable, and eventually we'll get out the other side. There is another side. There is, for sure. I'm praying for that as much as you are, because I'm still in this process myself. It is coming up to my 3rd year of my anniversary of my Kundalini on September the 25th. And it's coming up on my 5th year of my awakening. It's coming up on my 7th or 8th year, more than on my precursor to my awakening. This has been a journey. It's a long, arduous journey. If you need help, just in any capacity that I can to help assist you on your spiritual awakening, if you're struggling, you can book a one-on-one Zoom call with me. The way to do that is in the description below. Send me off an email to justbebeing@gmail.com. All of my services are by donation, and we can discuss some of the things that are holding you back, some of the things that you're struggling to get through, and let me help guide you through it, because I've been going through it and I understand. I'm coming from a position of understanding, not only from personal experience, but I have a lot of teachings as a Reiki Master and my background in addictions to be able to assist you in transmuting some of the stuff that you're going through. Hopefully your awakening isn't as difficult as mine. Some people have it much easier, and I think that's wonderful for them. And some people have it equally as challenging. I know there's a lot of us currently right now in this challenging energy. We are a collective. So more and more through this process, you become aware of the fact that you are not just you. You are part of a whole. You are part of a collective. So what you are experiencing, I can guarantee somebody else is experiencing the exact same thing. And if you are an empath, it's quite probable that you are experiencing other people's things. I want to shout out and say a huge amount of thank you for all of the comments and the feedback that I have been getting. I've been doing some nice one-on-one oracle reads as a thank you to my community and my followers, to helping see me through my dark night of the soul, my escape from a toxic and abusive relationship. And thank you so much for the comments and the feedback. You have no idea how much I appreciate knowing that the content that I am bringing is helping you, that my oracle reads are providing you with insight, that my one-on-ones are helping assist you, and I feel the appreciation, and I have so much gratitude for that. So with that said, I'm going to do my collective read at 4:44 today for the community, and I hope to see you there live here on YouTube. Welcome to anyone who's new that wants to join us over there at 4:44. That's Eastern Standard Time, to do a collective oracle read and see where the energies are currently, because there is a lot of intense energies that are at play. Do not feel alone. Do not suffer in silence. I got you, okay? We got this together. We can do this together. And I am sending you all of my absolute love and care if you are purging on the physical, if you are purging on the emotional, if you are purging old limiting beliefs, if you are spiritually purging, if you're purging on the 3D. All of this is part of the process of purification, and I feel you. I feel you. Peace out.